So what happens when the most powerful empires on Earth start to believe they're, well, untouchable? When their pride seems to literally reach for the very heavens? Today, we're going to dive deep into the ancient prophecies of Isaiah to find out. We're going to explore a series of divine messages that absolutely shook the ancient world. Our journey is going to take us through 6 pretty intense ancient oracles, each one a direct message to a powerful nation. As you can see, we'll kick things off with the famous day of the Lord against Babylon, and we'll wrap up with this incredible bird's-eye view of God's perspective on history. Along the way, we're going to uncover a timeless story about power, pride, and the unshakable reality of divine authority.
All right, let's start with the superpower of the age, Babylon. It was known as the glory of kingdoms. But Isaiah delivers something the text calls a burden, which is exactly what it sounds like, a heavy, weighty prophecy of judgment that's the complete opposite of the city's splendor.
Now, the central idea here is the day of the Lord. And let's be really clear about this. This isn't just a bad day. It's not just a military defeat. The text paints this picture of a moment of ultimate divine intervention, a time when God steps right into the mess of human history to execute his judgment.
You've got to notice how Isaiah describes this day. It is so much more than just a battle. He uses this incredible cosmic language. The stars go dark, the sun and moon are dimmed, the very heavens shake. This kind of imagery tells us we're not talking about a simple regime change. No, this is a complete cosmic and social reordering. Think of it like a divine reset, designed specifically to humble human arrogance and prove that no empire, no matter how glorious, is beyond God's reach. And the end result? Babylon will become like Sodom and Gomorrah, a permanent uninhabitable wasteland.
So the prophecy then kind of zooms in. It narrows its focus. From this vast empire of Babylon, Isaiah hones in on its very heart, the king himself. And he's not just presented as a ruler, he's a symbol of supreme arrogance, a man who truly believes he's the master of his own destiny. And this, right here, just brilliantly illustrates the core theme of these chapters, the great reversal. You see the king boasting, "I will be like the Most High," aiming for the heavens. But his fate is the exact opposite. He gets brought down to the depths of the grave, to the sides of the pit, where he becomes a spectacle for all the other fallen kings to look at and mock.
So, the crucial point here is that the fall of Babylon, and later Assyria and Philistia in this same chapter, it isn't random. It's not just the chaotic ebb and flow of history. The prophet is declaring that this is a deliberate plan, a purpose for the whole earth, and absolutely no human power can stop it. I mean, in a world where kings and empires saw themselves as the ultimate authority, this was a pretty radical claim.
Okay, now the tone shifts dramatically. The prophecy turns to the neighboring nation of Moab, and the announcement of judgment is, well, it's surprisingly mixed with this profound sense of sorrow and grief.
So the prophecy just opens with this sudden, shocking destruction. Their major cities are wiped out literally overnight, catching everyone completely by surprise. The message here is one of swift, total collapse. Then we see these really powerful symbols of deep public mourning and humiliation, shaved heads and cut beards. In the ancient world, those were signs of absolute disgrace and grief. And Isaiah says they are everywhere, from the rooftops to the streets.
And then, in this really stunning turn, the prophet himself, and by extension, the God who's giving the prophecy, expresses deep compassion. It's not some triumphant declaration of destruction. Instead, it's a sorrowful lament over the very judgment being handed down. This really reveals a side of God's character that is both perfectly just and also deeply compassionate. So why? Why did this terrible judgment fall on Moab? Well, the next chapter gives us the answer. It reveals that there was actually an opportunity for mercy, a chance to escape this fate, but it was tragically missed.
The text suggests that a clear path to mercy was actually offered. This wasn't some unavoidable fate. An appeal is made for Moab's refugees to find shelter in Zion and submit to the just and merciful rule that was promised through the house of David.
This was the path to survival. Embrace justice, show mercy to others. Simple enough, right? But Moab refused, and the reason is stated so plainly. We have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud. It was their arrogance, their haughtiness, their own anger that blinded them to the way of escape. In the end, their pride was their downfall.
So the prophetic message now hits even closer to home. See, this judgment isn't just for foreign nations. It's also for God's own people, the northern kingdom of Israel, which is also called Ephraim. They had formed an alliance with Damascus against their own southern relatives in Judah. So this wasn't just foreign policy, it was a family feud with huge geopolitical stakes.
Isaiah uses this really powerful metaphor of a harvest to describe what's going to happen to them. Just like a field is reaped and left almost bare, the once great strength and population of Israel will be, well, made thin.
And the metaphor continues. It gets even more specific. Their once great glory, their numbers, their power, all of it will be reduced to practically nothing. It's going to be like an olive tree that's been shaken bare, with only a few stray olives left way up on the highest branches. So, what caused such a severe judgment? The root cause was basically a catastrophic memory failure. The text says it plainly. They forgot the God of their salvation, the rock of their strength. What did they do instead? They put their trust in foreign alliances and idols, the work of their own hands. And by abandoning their true foundation, they were left with nothing. And finally, Isaiah's perspective pulls way back to a global view. He looks south toward a powerful and distant nation, probably Ethiopia or Cush, a land of swift messengers and really ambitious plans. Okay, this final prophecy gives us this absolutely stunning picture of God's posture over all of human history. Just look at the contrast on this timeline. Down here on Earth, there is all this frantic activity, nations rushing around like mighty waters, sending swift messengers to forge alliances. But in heaven, the Lord is at rest. He is perfectly calm, just watching and considering everything from his dwelling place. He's not worried. And then, and this is the key, at precisely the right moment, just afore the harvest, right before their big plans can come to fruition, he will act decisively and just prune the branches. So when you pull it all together, these 6 chapters form this powerful, cohesive story. They show us that God is the true king over all nations. He opposes the proud, and he warns against the fatal mistake of forgetting him. And through it all, we see that his ultimate purpose is for all of history to bend toward his will. You know, Isaiah's prophecies from thousands of years ago force us to ask a very modern question. Where do we place our trust? Is it in the fleeting power of human systems, the strength of our economies, the might of our armies, or is it in the enduring purpose of a sovereign God who sits calmly above the rush of history? It's a question worth thinking about.